So this will be a part 2 about growing the fig and mulberry cuttings and kind of an update on how they did. As you can see, this one did great. It is leafing from the top, as you would hope it would. But I do have a range of different success from the others. And I'll kind of go into what I think happened with them. You can see that this one is not sprouting from the top, and same here with these others. They are sprouting from the bottom. So I think what happened is that the tops of the stems dried out too much to continue getting nutrients up to them. Like perhaps they didn't root fast enough in order to keep delivering nutrients to the top. But they did eventually root, and now they're sprouting from the base where those new roots are. And in the first video, I did this intentionally because I wanted to see what would happen. So this is really great learning material for myself. I did not use a rooting hormone intentionally to see what would happen here. And this is what happens, is it seems that the roots didn't root fast enough, and the stems dried out, and this is what you end up with. Well, that's okay. These will grow up, and this will dry out and snap off, or I'll cut it off. I'll still have other fig cuttings eventually, or plants. They'll just take, it's sort of like they'll be growing from seed in a sense. The other thing that I've seen some people do is wrap up the cutting to lock in that moisture so that the stem doesn't dry out as quickly. And I can see that being a very good way to help this take. So maybe going forward, when I do cuttings, I will not only wrap it up or put a dome on it to lock in that moisture, but I will also use a rooting hormone. And there are different types of rooting hormones from what I have seen for different thicknesses of wood and types of trees. And I'm going to be experimenting with other cuttings. I'm thinking about doing some rose cuttings and maybe some other flowers, and I have some trees that I'm going to experiment with taking cuttings from in the front yard and seeing how they do. I can show you the mulberry, the white mulberry cuttings. They didn't have that same issue, so maybe there's some difference in the trees themselves and being able to hold on to moisture more. You can see that this one is opening up at the top. This one's already begun. And then this one, it's not opening up yet, but it'll get there. And I'm going to be repotting these today because they have, let me show you, got all sorts of worms and stuff on the bottom. But the roots, if it can focus, you'll just have to take my word for it. There are some roots coming out the bottom, so it is time for them to be repotted. But yeah, that's just some updates on how the cuttings performed and some further ideas on how to improve performance for cuttings. You're learning along with me here.